How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Yes by Podcast, Newfoundland and Labrador's #1 podcast. I'm your host, Robert Greeley, and today on deck for you, we have Lori King, the founder of the Staycation Facebook group that has absolutely taken off. So we're going to get right into the chat with her there then. After, what we have is a little bit of a special, 40-minute clip, more or less, of a vlog slash series for my program at Ryerson. It was filmed back in January with Terry Ryan. We basically kind of followed him around for the day, got him mic'd up at a hockey game when he was doing his Sunday skate, and then also got a tour of the famous Terry Ryan Sr. basement. So we're going to hop in with the chat with Lori right there now. And yeah, enjoy. This is the Yes by Podcast, Newfoundland and Labrador's #1 podcast. I'm your host, Robert Greeley. Lori, welcome to the Yes by Podcast. How's it going?
Oh, great. How's it going your way?
I can't complain. You guys got a snow day out in St. John's today. Is that right?
Well, it started out a little bit stormy, but it's been back and forth. Yesterday was the same thing, like a little bit of a nasty start to the day, but then it turned out okay. So, we're getting into spring now. So we're on our way.
And spring is obviously a great time of year for staycations and little visits to other places, the nooks and crannies of this island. Now, we're mainly going to, talk about that Facebook group that you created, but fill me in on what you were doing before that whole Facebook page really started.
Well, we're just regular Newfoundlanders that hold down normal jobs, and I work for an optical. My husband is an electrician, and certainly we got shut down in the pandemic in 2020, and we're travelers. We love to travel, and within the province, as well as we like to travel outside the province as well. And we during the pandemic, it really just kind of started as a question: where in the name of God are we going to travel this year, because we're not allowed to go anywhere? So it kind of started as a question, and we really thought it was really important to get out there and see some of our province and explore our province and support local businesses along the way. So that's really kind of where it initially came from. It just really just a question and a thought to get out and be able to enjoy some of our province and support some businesses. So we're just like everybody else. We're just tourists that like to travel and rediscover, try something new. So that's really kind of how it started.
So now, before COVID-19, when international travel and even travel outside this province was a thing, what were some of your go-to spots that you guys would really like to check out?
Oh my gosh, so we did the cruises, the Caribbean cruises, and we went to Ireland in 2018. We loved Ireland. If any of you haven't been there, it's a lot like here, so we want to definitely go back there. We actually got a cruise book for 2022, a Mediterranean cruise. So hopefully, I don't know, if we can't go, we can't go. If we're not comfortable traveling, we won't, but we are certainly travelers. We've done the all-inclusives. We have family in other parts of Canada. So we've done Disney, all your normal stuff, but we have a lot of places to go on our bucket list, and certainly places in Newfoundland as well. So, and I grew up camping and traveling the province, and really felt like I did see a lot of the province as a child. And then the whole staycation movement kind of reminded me that there is a lot of places that I haven't seen. And I was really excited to see that was a lot of places that we could go that were also cool and experience something different in our own province. So that's kind of where it, I guess, came from there.
So did you make the Facebook account, the Facebook group? Was that you? Was it you and a couple of friends? So tell me about how that initial thing came from the idea to the actual group.
Robert, it literally was one morning, sat here in the pandemic and thinking to myself, I was having a cup of coffee, and I was literally, it came from a question, like I said, where in the name of God are we going to go traveling this year? I really want to go out and do something. I don't want to be home in the house all summer, because we love the outdoors. We're hikers. We like to experience different restaurants and things to do, and we really enjoy that. And it literally came, I'm going to make a little Facebook group now, just to ask some of my Facebook friends, what are some cool places that we haven't seen in the province? Where can we go to summer when we're allowed to travel once the restrictions, because that was back in May of 2020. So we were still in the middle of the lockdown, like no travel, like there was no bubbles, you weren't allowed to go anywhere at that point. So I was just kind of pre-planning in hopes that in June or July, I would be able to plan a little getaway and we'd be able to enjoy some of the summer. So it really just came from a question. And that was like a Tuesday morning. And then by that Friday, we had like 800 members or something. And I was like, 800 members, this is awesome. This is crazy. And my husband was there and I was like, did you see this place? Did you see that place? Like, oh my God, there's like sandy beaches out in Lumsden. Like, we got to go there. And so it really just came out at just a passion and just a real desire to get out and see some more of the province and support local. There was no business in mind at that time. Like, it wasn't a business, it was a question. Really.
You were basically thinking, this is going to be me and my group of friends and maybe a couple mutual friends between us, and it might get to 100. And you were
Yes.
shocked at 800. Now it's what, 45,000?
45, yeah, a little over 45 there now. So
take me through that whole reaction.
Oh my goodness, like I said, every week it was like I said, that first week it was like 800 and I was like amazed. And then I remember specifically we were at we have a cabin in Terra Nova. So we had been up there in May 24th weekend, just myself and my husband and my mother. And anyway, and that weekend it was like 4,000 people on the group, and we were like, 4,000 people, like this is crazy. And just to watch it grow and to watch, I think the thing that really resonated with me, one of the reasons anyway, and I think one of the reasons why it grew so much is because there was a lot of people engaged. People were home on their couch doing the same thing. You're on social media, you're trying to keep busy, or you have kids or whatever, you're trying to, keep busy and see, be entertained or whatever. And I think it was a lot of engagement, because as soon as people were encouraged to just to go out hiking, there wasn't a whole lot of encouragement to travel per se, but there was certainly a lot of people that were trying to get out and hike a trail that they hadn't probably seen, that was not far from their hometown, or there was certainly a lot of encouragement that way to get out of the house, we'll say. And I think that people just started posting up pictures, and people were genuinely proud of where they came from. Like, they were proud to post that picture of my kids and I when we went to this beach last summer, and we just beachcombed or looked for glass, or we spent the day there, and this is our cabin, and we had a fire this weekend. And people were quite proud to say where they came from and to post up that hidden gem picture, because that's really what people were looking for. And it was more of the engagement and like the banter of back and forth. So people would be actually chatting on the page. And so it was almost like interactive. So I liked watching that unfold over the summer. So that was one of the things that kind of resonated with me. And I think one of the big reasons why the page grew.
I'll also pose the argument that this probably doesn't take off as much as it has if it's not for the fact of our demographic and our geographic location being in Newfoundland. Obviously, Newfoundlanders super prideful of not only just being islanders, but where in particular they are from within our island. And you also have the factor too, we've been pretty fortunate with our COVID-19 numbers where we can get out and kind of travel within the own province as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. So social distancing was no problem in our province, as you know. It was no problem to have an activity or do something on a weekend that didn't involve big crowds. So that certainly we did have in our favor, for sure. There's a lot of outdoors. There's a lot of hiking trails. There's a lot of different activities that you can do that does not involve like big, huge crowds, which definitely was to our benefit for sure.
One thing in terms of this particular Facebook group that I think also separates it from other popular ones that I see, and kudos to you guys for kind of keeping it this way, is you're pretty relaxed in terms of restrictions. And I mean that in the sense of sometimes you see groups where it's like you can only post this type of content and you can only do it once a day, and if you do it any other else, or if you don't include this in the caption, like we're taking your post down. Now, might be something that you haven't even really thought of, but you've been doing pretty well. And it seems that, it's a great community where people can kind of share whatever, however, in whatever kind of format they wish to do so.
For sure. I think one of my main rules right from the get-go was that page was created to uplift the people of the province, to create a space that you could look to brighter days when we were allowed to travel. I did not tolerate anybody saying anything disrespectful towards another member or a business. I did have to address some issues there with a scattered post, but you know what? I gotta say, like, for a lot of people on the page, and we all know that social media is a very good way it's got its benefits, and sometimes it's not always your friend, right? And sometimes it can get out of hand a little bit, but I gotta say the people of the province were very, very positive, and that I wanted to keep it that way. And I was really, if someone did say something that was kind of out of line, I was like, you know what, guys, like, hey, like reel it back in here, because we just want to create a bright spot for people. If you got a business, show us what you got. If you got somewhere that you went that you think is pretty cool and you like to share it. Like, it wasn't a place to, it's not a booking site. It wasn't somewhere that you could criticize other businesses or anything like that. There's lots of pages out there for that. If it's a review site, there was TripAdvisors, and there's all kinds of different review sites for there. So one of my big things was you had to be positive. My mama always told me, if you never had nothing nice to say about anybody, don't say it at all. So that was kind of my motto from the beginning. And did it hold true 100% of the time? I mean, probably not, but I did my best to try and keep it that way. And I think that people did a really good job of stepping up and supporting local. And I think they did a great job of being positive in times when people are really stressed. There was a lot of stress last year, and still is, on people of the province as well as businesses. So I think they did really good.
Even though they're few and far between, some of the negative comments, when you have to start mediating those conversations, is that any additional stress from you? I mean, you just mentioned it's a stressful time. So was that something that maybe you had a little background in, so it didn't overwhelm you as much? Or was that when things started picking up and you've seen a couple of those, was it any thought of like, oh, this might even be getting out of hand?
Not at all. Not ever did I feel like it was getting out of hand. A couple of times, like, I did have to kind of address a couple like issues for sure. But I've been working with people for almost 24 years, and I've been in customer service, and I've had to deal with a lot of irate customers and whatever. And that definitely helped me for sure. But no, not at all did I feel at any point it was something that I couldn't handle or couldn't control. So, but yeah, I do feel for sure that I did have some experience there, not in the same kind of way, I guess, but it definitely did help. But as I said, like, for the amount of people on the page, like a couple of times, people were really good, and they still are. They still are. But yeah, I gotta introduce some new rules every now and again. And yes, you are correct. Like, you do have to admit it and monitor it, because people do sometimes don't read, not to their own, like, just genuinely, I didn't see that. Thanks for letting me know. Most of the time, if I had to point something out to somebody, they're like, okay, cool, Lori, no problem. I'll remove that. And I was like, yeah, cool. So people are really good.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty obvious that the whole thing hasn't overwhelmed because it's turned into a business for you guys, and you've launched the new website and things. So take me through the process of when you realized that there was a business model here, and then the initial steps of getting that off and running.
As I said, it totally didn't start as a business. It started as an idea, a question, and all summer I didn't even look at it as being a business. We were just having a lot of fun. I really felt like I got a lot of all positive feedback in terms of um, they members, like business, I guess businesses in the province, as well as people that were just trying to get out and have a little bit of a summer and explore, rediscover our province or whatnot. Those people just were really genuinely positive, and they would say that they really did think that it impacted the tourism over the summer. And I feel like, yeah, sure, I started a Facebook page for just a question, for no apparent reason other than a passion to get out and hopefully see some of the province and support some local businesses. But I may have started it, but it was the people of the province that they were our ambassadors. They were the people that were posting the pictures up. Yes, I did admin the page, and they were the people that kind of they fuel the fire. So I just put the page out there. They fuel the fire. And over the summer, watching the page growing, it's the questions like, people would send me messages, be like, I love your page, it's great, but I can't find, when I go back, I'm scrolling through all these posts, and I saw this great place out in Grossmorn that I saw a month ago, and I can't remember, it was a cabin up in the chalet, and do you know where I can get that person's number, that kind of stuff. Like, can you organize it a little bit better? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I can do that on a Facebook page. Like, I don't think I can do it better than what I have, like to tell people, you can search here or do this or do that or whatever. Not to my capabilities anyway. I'm not a social media marketer. I didn't do any courses on how to set up a business Facebook page like that. So to my knowledge, I couldn't do anything better than the way I was doing it in terms of organizing it. So that's where the business idea came into it, because after like maybe into the fall, like maybe September, then when people kept asking me the same questions, I'm like, I mean, maybe could we do a website that could be an extension of the Facebook page and organize all these wicket spots for people to find easily. So that's really where the business model came from, just simply out of people asking me questions, could I organize it better? And that's really where that came from.
Now, on a technical side, take us through the website and how you establish the different tier models and everything like that.
Well, my brother, actually, I don't have any idea how to build a website. So my brother actually has a computer background. So with his experience, as well as we had to bring in obviously some outside consulting to help us along the way. So that's how we designed the page, and kind of pulled from all of the different things that people would say on the Facebook group. Like, so say people looking for specifically pet friendly or hot tubs or hiking trails or that sort of thing. Like, like for us, a good staycation is a nice spot to stay, some good food, some fun experiences, and some hiking. That's really what we look to when we're doing any type of travel. We want to have some fun, some things, something different. So we want to experience, an authentic, so in Newfoundland, why wouldn't you want to experience something authentic, right? Because that's who we are. We're rich with culture and history and personality, and we're fun. So why wouldn't you want to experience all that? Do you mean like how do we decide on like the cost of the packages. Is that what you mean? Like, what? How do you
Um,
mean?
yeah, not more so on the financial side, but specifically like tier one is this, and that was kind of where you came up with these certain ideas, and then tier two is this, and so on.
Yeah, so kind of like, I guess phase one here now is we're building the business directory. So um, like an extension of the Facebook group, it was really important for us to create a platform for businesses, big and small, in the province that were really given a genuine, uh, a good place to list their businesses, because advertising is expensive. Like, anybody that knows anything about Facebook ads or any type of advertising, it is expensive. So we wanted to really create a place that gave people options to get their business more visible. So we wanted to have like a really low entry cost going in there, so you get your business on our directory. We also have a blog side of our business as well, that we blog about different places that we go. And I don't know if I'm going to get to everywhere this year that I want to go, but definitely the blog is a piece of the business as well. And then so that was really important to us, to give people an opportunity to get seen. And I find that our province does a wonderful job with their campaign, their Stay Home Year campaign. They showcase our province beautifully in those ads. But it's a lot of the bigger centers that get highlighted. Like, so the Grossmore's, the Twilling Gates, the Bonavista, St. John. So it's the bigger centers that really get highlighted. So we're looking for the hidden gems. So we're looking for the little guy. Like, we want to support the little guy too. So the people that, don't probably have the same opportunities to get seen. So they just need, or it could be new businesses. And it doesn't always have to be large businesses. We like the hidden gems for sure.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that, because I think this past summer has opened my eyes up to it more and more so than ever. I mean, my grandparents on my mom's side, grand bankers. I love spending any second that I possibly can in Grand Bank. I've gone down there numerous of times, spent so many days down there, and essentially I filmed a video of just photographing 10 different Newfoundland communities. So when I went to Grand Bank, I decided, you know what, now would be a good time to kind of bang a couple out here on the Burin Peninsula. I'm driving by like Frenchman's Cove. Let's just swing in there right quick. And I mean, that Burin Highway, I've been on it more times than I can count. And I've never ventured off outside of, okay, here's the destination to get in the
Exactly.
grandparents' house.
Yeah. Which is interesting you said that, because the Burin Peninsula, I feel, is one of the places in our province that is not highlighted enough. And you know what? To see the nooks and crannies of this province, you got to get off that TCH to get the real authentic Newfoundland. If you want to get like the real feel and who we are as a people, you got to get off that TCH and get down into nooks and crannies of our province. And that's where you're going to experience the real hidden gems.
For sure. I love the Burin Peninsula, and even, Grand Bank is such a, obviously, just having my grandparents live there their whole lives. Like, that's a big spot for me growing up, right? Spending time at Nan and Pops. And yeah, it's true. I mean, it's incredible what you can do down there, especially, if you even go past Grand Bank a little bit. You're unfortunate if you really want to. Obviously, it's not Newfoundland, and the culture, or sorry, the landscape has changed because of COVID-19, and you can't actually travel like internationally as easily. But you hop on a ferry, then you're in Saint Pierre and Miquelon, which is a France island, and you're getting a whole new experience there as well.
Oh, 100%. Now, I was there when I was like 14, and I'd love to go back like as an adult.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's every Newfoundland student who took French. It was like one of our field trips.
Right. It was. That's why I was there.
Yeah.
So you're right. So I mean, here you are in the middle of a little island in the middle of the North Atlantic, and you hop on a little ferry for, I think it's like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a different country, really. So it's pretty cool.
Cultivating community is something that is very difficult, on social media in general. What do you think really separated, this specific group? I know obviously like Newfoundlanders, it's, kind of written in our nature that we're, very community driven and community prideful. But what do you think really separated this group? Because, like you said, you've had like a lot of positive feedback. You've actually seen businesses. I mean, I can actually attest to it. I've seen, in terms of the stuff that I do, if it's, a few days and then I post it in the group, there's a lot of people who end up excited about it, and people kind of tune into whether it be a podcast episode or a YouTube video. Like I can see that rise exactly right on the analytics. So you guys have really cultivated not only a community but a very engaged and loyal one.
I think that's awesome. I love hearing stories like that, that people, I do. I love to see people do well. Like I do. I thrive on that. Like I love it. It's awesome. To answer your question, I think it's because it's coming from the people of the province. Like the page wasn't created as a business. And I know now, I mean, we're moving more on the business side of it, but it's still the same feel. It's still the same vibe. Like we really feel that Staycation NL is like staycations are good for the soul. Vacations are good for the soul. Like who don't like a good staycation? And I really do think it's because it came from the people of the province, and we're still coming from a very genuinely good place in our hearts, that we really just genuinely want to see our economy not fail completely. Like, some businesses won't succeed this year, and that is very unfortunate. The businesses that were able to adapt in whatever way were able to adapt, and this year is definitely going to be a year of survival as well. But I do think it's because it came from the people of the province, and it more of like a community vibe to it for sure. And definitely more, it didn't come from our government. It didn't come from, a business place like that, trying to make money like that. And again, even with our website, it's really like comes from a genuinely good place in our hearts, that we really just want to see businesses succeed. And you know what? And more than anything, I want to see Newfoundland and Labrador shine to the rest of the world, because I think we deserve it. I think that we have everything in this little province that every top destination in this world has. Like we have the unique history, we have the culture, we have the whales, we have the icebergs, we have the scenery, we have the hiking trails, we got 5-star restaurants, we got picnic baskets if you want some. Like we got something for everybody in this province. And I think that our people were the what grounds us, and we're the root of our province, and we're the best ambassadors. So we're the locals. We're going to tell you where to go and what to do and how to do it and how to have a good time.
Yeah, I think it's a great point you're touching on, because yeah, a lot of people, especially in Canada, aren't necessarily aware of Newfoundland. I touched on the trailer of this podcast, right? It was, we have the goal too to also kind of get people from away to really learn about specific things, because when I was up away, I had a lot of funny conversations like, oh, okay, you're from Newfoundland, so like Nova Scotia. No, like not we're
No, but
a little bit further. Nova Scotia is great. I got a lot of good memories in that province, but I'm not from there for sure. And then even some of my favorite ones were, oh, okay, yeah, so like BC, like British Columbia, like out that way, and it's like no other side. So there is a few instances like that, right? So it's great that at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it was kind of created by the people for the people in a way. And we've looked at the specifics of the Facebook group, and now I'm kind of curious, because obviously you have a big passion for like local businesses. What have been, and places as well, what have been some real standout gems that you've been able to find because of this community you were able to bring together?
Well, as I said, no, we camped mostly as kids. Like we didn't go to Disneyland or any of those cool vacations, I guess. But as kids, like we camped around the province, and we eventually, my dad bought a cabin in Terra Nova. So that's kind of our little hidden gem for sure. But I did, from this page, if nothing else happens from this page for myself and my husband, we met a lot of people, and some people that we went and visited them through the page, and I talked to them all the time. And for me, we went to Lumsden Beach. Every beach I was ever on in Newfoundland was always like rocky beaches, right? So, because that's what we're kind of known for. I don't even think that people realize that there were so many sandy beaches in Newfoundland. Like crazy, look like Florida. I was blown away. So I mean, you got Lumsden Beach and Cape Friels is there. There's Grand Bay West, the Shallow Bay up in Gross Mourne. I mean, there's lots of beautiful rocky beaches too. But I was really kind of blown away by all the sandy beaches. So definitely, I feel like that's a hidden gem. We went to Greens Pond over the summer. Went down to the Gander Loop. And Greens Pond, beautiful. I didn't know that it was so pretty down there. We tried to get around to a lot of the breweries, and I mean, we've been to Bonavista and Trinity, and a lot of places that are the bigger centers as well. But we went to Cottlesville, which is right outside of Twillingate, and amazing. Friend of mine we had met there. He owns the Hideout, which is just there in Cottlesville. He got a beautiful property right on the ocean. Took us out sea kayaking. We went picking mussels, and we just, I don't know, we just had a really good time. We had the best summer. We really had the best summer. And like I said, we have family. My husband had family in Ontario, and we travel up there, and we like to travel at least every year or whatever, and we just had the best summer. We really had a great summer. I was just blown away.
Lots of sandy beaches, but probably not as warm as Florida. That's the only thing.
No, they're not made for swimming, so you really got to go there with your shorts, and then maybe a toque, and maybe a quick change of clothes, because you don't know what's going to happen. I remember years ago we went down to Burgeo, another sandy beach. This is probably 20 years ago, and it was windy as anything the day we went. It was sunny, really sunny and windy, but it wasn't hot. Well, my Lord, I got this massive sunburn. I thought it was, I was really burnt bad. And it wasn't even hot there, but the sun was bright.
Funny enough, one of the things that I just noticed more or less in my chats, everybody always thought that, especially in my friends in Ottawa, they always thought that our winters were always just harsher and a lot colder and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'm just no, the only thing consistent about our weather is that it's inconsistent. And I mean, I remember going to high school, and I still do it. In terms of the back of my vehicle, there's a raincoat, there's a winter coat.
Oh yeah.
There's a hoodie, and then there's a pair of swim trunks, and that basically stays there all year round, because you never really know what you're going to get or when you're going to get it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think, funny enough, that's one of the things that makes us resilient people, because you go on your little day trip and you literally pack everything, because you're expecting God knows what type of weather, windy, cold, could rain, whatever. So you're prepared, you're prepared for the wilderness, right? And we're able to, as a people, we're very easygoing, because we're able to switch like that on we thought it was sunny, but now it's pouring down rain. How are we going to do? Well, and we adapt, and we quickly say, go to plan B, because, we can't be outside in the sun. Let's just, make a tent, or we'll go, in the woods or whatever. We just adapt really quickly and make the best of any situation. And I think that's a trait that most Newfoundlanders have. They try to see the bright side, and they try and make light of a lot of things. And I think that probably had a lot to do with our quick and easy way to adapt with our weather for sure.
Yeah, well, there's a big thing in terms too of just like you touched on, preparation and making sure you're prepared and kind of going down through the whole checklist, right? funny enough, I hear stories about people, running out of gas, and I would be amazed at that because I'd be like, man, like you're always kind of every time you hit the highway for us, you're almost making sure you have a full tank because there's some stretches where you have no idea when the next gas station is going to come up.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But, so all in all, I think, yeah, so we adapt pretty quickly. We're ready for anything, right?
Now, in terms of being ready, where do you think the future of just the staycation page will be, and maybe even in a new light where okay, COVID-19 up and disappears, we now are able to travel normally and freely again, and international travel becomes more of a competition, I guess, and is the right word, or maybe a right way to phrase that.
Um, I do believe that we as a province should be marketing ourselves as wide open spaces. Lots of activities to do, to go, to social distance. And I think people really, if anything good came out of COVID-19, probably in the world, people did realize that maybe you don't need as much as you thought you needed. And people probably will be looking for different experiences and authentic experiences, and looking for something different that probably aren't revolving around crowds and everything like that. As for staycationing, I think this year is very much going to be a staycation year for most provinces. I mean, we'll be lucky if our Atlantic bubble, I guess, opens. But we would like to, once travel is comfortable and it's safe and people do get back to traveling, we want to market Staycation NL to the rest of the world. We're going to expand our marketing to definitely the rest into Canada, probably for next year. And I do think that next year is going to be a big year for people leaving the province, for sure. Like, I'd like to get on a plane sometime too, but a lot of people are going to come home. And I think we have a lot of people on the page that aren't from Newfoundland. And that part of the business is growing as well. Like, yes, for sure, there is a lot of, the bulk of the members on the page are from Newfoundland right now, but there's a lot of people that aren't from Newfoundland and they want to come here. So, and I think it comes from Newfoundlanders moving all around the world, and everybody knows a Newfoundlander. So anybody that knows a Newfoundlander, they'll want to come to Newfoundland. So I do think that Newfoundland will be part of a top destination. It's moving in the right direction. I think our province has done that for our province, Canada wide, for a number of years now. They've done very well with their campaigns and getting travelers to come here. So I think it's only going to go up. I think that Newfoundland is just starting. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think you touched on some really great points there, especially ones of where there's Newfoundlanders all over. And, obviously I've been reflecting a little bit on my time in Ottawa, and I wasn't even looking for it. But sure enough, there was one evening and on a few evenings where you just kind of end up at a place to kind of hang out. And then all of a sudden you're surrounded by 8 other fellow Newfoundlanders, because there is still that sense of community that people really hold on to, whether it's Ottawa, Alberta, and things of that. And the other thing is too is you mentioning that there's some people who live away in the group and are looking forward to trying out some of these things when they get here. There is also because of this pandemic, in terms of looking for a few silver linings, there's a lot of Newfoundlanders who are now home for the first time in a while, because they maybe switched up on a career path or anything like that to really readjust.
Yeah.
I mean, I can speak on my own experience in the sense that, like, I didn't think I'd be living in Newfoundland right now, right? But obviously, the situation's all kind of changed when my background was mainly working in sports, so obviously the sports world kind of shut down, and still is for the most part. You're seeing a few pro leagues pick back up, but then also I know friends who worked offshore in Alberta who are now just kind of stopped taking those calls and are working in more of a 9 to 5 around here that keeps them in the province, as opposed to having their 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah. So, I mean, for sure. I mean, there's definitely there's there's a lot more cons than pros for sure. I mean, a pandemic, but I just think it maybe made people realize that they didn't need as much, and you probably stay a bit closer to your family, and it opens your eyes to some things that probably you didn't see before. And people generally maybe are a little bit more appreciative of life and things too. So hopefully.
No, for sure. I mean, hopefully this goes away as quickly as possible, and we
I
can.
hope so. I mean, I want people to be safe. That's number one, obviously. Like, we want the world. We want the world to be safe, and hopefully it does go away.
Oh, for sure. Well, hey, Lori, I just want to thank you for your time and hopping on the SBI podcast. I, really wish, Staycation all the success, and, yourself included in the future. And, I always love letting the guests kind of take reins in the last little bit. So anything else you want to add, I mean, feel free. It's all yours.
Well, thanks for reaching out. It was great to have a little chat about our new adventure. And I always take any opportunity I can get to talk about our wonderful province. So thank you for reaching out. And I'm glad you're seeing some new activity on your end of it. And I'm glad you're enjoying your time home. So just everybody check out our new website. It's www.staycationnl.com. We are just growing it right now, but go to the Facebook page. The Facebook page is where you're going to get that's the interactive piece of our business. That's where you're going to get the locals that are going to tell you where to go and what to do and who to see and where all the good sunsets are and where all the good craft beers are and where all the good icebergs and the whales. Last year was the year to whale. This year, I hope it's going to be the year to iceberg. So that would be pretty cool. So the Facebook page is definitely where you're going to see all of the activity for sure. And you'll find some pretty cool spots.
I switched it up. Last summer, I was chasing icebergs. I guess I should have been chasing whales last one.
Whales. Last year was the year to whale, man. Like the year to whale.
I guess I'll try and still look for some whales this summer then, because I got the icebergs last summer.
For sure. I'm sure there'll be lots of whales there this year too. So
awesome. Thanks so much, Lori.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that is the chat with Lori, the whole Staycation group. I love it. I think it's great. Now, we're going to dive into Terry Ryan. So if you're more of a visual person, you can actually kind of see this whole vlog on my personal YouTube channel, Robert Greeley, so make sure to check that out if you're kind of interested in maybe seeing some of these things that you're going to hear Senior or even, Terry Ryan Jr. talk about. So we're going to hop right into that. Also, hey, if you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, comment something down below, leave us a review, send it to a friend, all that fun stuff. All right, here is Terry Ryan mic'd up with the basement tour. If these streets are familiar to you and the buildings in the background, that probably means you're a Newfoundland hockey fan. And if you're a Newfoundland hockey fan, you must know about the legend of Terry Ryan. You probably know him from stuff like this.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I...
And now Terry's being kind enough to take us with him through the day in the life of just a classic TR. So, first stop is his father's basement.
We played the Jets, and I went over right after the game and got it. Now look at that. People today wouldn't believe that. That's Hull's stick. We had just played him. And he could handle that. A puck, he was so skilled, just like, you would with a straight blade, whatever. But that's something, B-Hull here, he was unique because you might have all the others when I came through was Northland Pro or Sherbrooke. His was Gunzo's. In Chicago supplied him with his sticks. And that's unique. I don't know of anyone else that had Gunzo's. And so I kept that. That's basically 50 years old now. And there's a bunch of sticks here. These are three of my coveted. These are my coveted sticks. It's Bobby Orr and Wayne Gretzky. And they're all worth money. I know they are, but I'd never... That's Orr. Hardly any curve at all, as you can see. Hardly any. Just simply B Orr. And this one was Gretzky's Terry's agent, Mike Barnett, was Gretzky's agent. So he got us to get us a stick. It says to Terry, best wishes to all my friends in Newfoundland, 1984 or 86, whatever. But what makes this unique, W. Gretzky, this is the original wooden Titan that he used. If you go back and people see highlights of the Edmonton Oilers and whatever, this is the original. This is wooden, the Titan, and that's unique. Once again, it's probably worth money on eBay, whatever, but they're the three I covet the most. And I have a number of all, Michel Goulet, Mark Recchi, a lot of Hall of Famers, but this one here, I think, is probably worth the most money. This is worth money. This is Grand Fuhrer. It's goalie stick, as you can see, Sherwood. But what makes it unique is he's got this, the 7th game, they just won the Stanley Cup. And as you can see, it says Grand Fuhrer, but they're all on it. Messier, Krushelnyski, Gretzky, Moog, Paul Coffey, Marty McSorley, Mark Napier, Dave Semenko. There's Gretzky there, but to an Edmonton Oiler fan, I guess that's right up there. But because the goalie stick, I got it siphoned off over in the corner. But that's a pretty important stick, really. And once again, I'm sure goalie sticks, I don't know. All the others have gone what they call carbon or, metallic. I would think goalie sticks have too. I don't know. But this is the original. That's Grand Fuhrer's original stick. And like I say, we have a bunch of others. I'm looking there. God, I don't have my glasses. There's Mark Recchi. Goulet is in the corner. I have a bunch of others, but these are all, as you can see, this took years to accumulate. We're very much into the music and the Beatles and whatever, but I'm 18 years old, they're assistant captain for the Hamilton Red Wings, so that's 50 years old. There's pictures of Terry, of course, just after fighting with somebody. That's the famous Bobby Orr goal he scored against Glenn Hall. Noel Picard upsets him. Just got the feed from Derek Sanderson to win the Stanley Cup. These are things of Terry. Highlights as we were in Vancouver. He's the MVP of the biggest bantam tournament in Western Canada, and New Pee Wee, far from a joke, is done in the Vancouver province. That's my Hall of Fame one. These are jerseys. That's my Kalamazoo Wings at Detroit's Farm Club. I played 2 years with them. That's Terry when they won the Orlando Seals. That's taken right after the draft that day. And of course, Terry has a huge fountain in downtown Edmonton. That's Brad Church, who went number 17 to Washington. Terry and Shane Doan, who just went number 7 right in front. They all had the same agent, Mike Barnett, and they just jumped into the fountain. There's the Tri-City Americans here. One of the nicest crests, I think, in hockey. In hockey, it's beautiful. You can see Tri-City with the eagle and the puck. This is from Terry's National Ball Hockey Championships, playing for Canada, of course. That's when one year he played for Ireland, because he had the name Ryan, of course. You had the heritage. So he played for Ireland. They went to the semifinals. That's his Red Deer Rebel. Junior, that year they played. They had 8 number 1 picks. Should have won it, and they lost in 7 games in the Western Hockey League final to the Lethbridge Broncos. And all they had that I think was Chris Phillips, who went number 1. They had Byron Ritchie.
Shane Willis could really snipe, man.
Shane Willis could snipe, but
he had 25 in the NHL 3 years ago.
But I think overall your team.
Scott Stevens ended his
Yeah,
career.
he did. But I think overall, would you say your team was more talented? You had more better players.
Byron Ritchie.
Byron Ritchie was good.
Great junior.
And this is St. John's Maple Leafs. Terry has other jerseys at his place, like his Montreal Canadian, and that's the St. John's Maple Leaf. That's the Idaho Steelheads. That's the Colorado Gold Kings in the corner. These are, of course, this here is Montreal Canadian taken right out of the Forum. His agent sent us these. They were, when they, took the Forum down, they were the seats G. That's a nice one too. This is WHL.
Actually, seniors,
All-star
I'll wear
uniform.
that on the rec hockey tonight.
Yeah, you can.
Why not?
Here you go. All live on camera. This is me. That's the one few you people might not know. That's Minnesota Fighting Saints. I did. I was there. Yeah, that was the. It was nice jerseys over there. I got that. I had to track it down on the wall. And that's Johnny Cash, of course. These are all mementos. K-Wings. There's a Minnesota Fighting Saints mug. The rigueur. There's the Terry's Western Hockey League All-Star. That's classic here. Babe Ruth's last game in Yankee Stadium. Well, not his last game, but he's got cancer. He's ready to die within like a couple of weeks. There's the Beatles, which is once again de rigueur. That's another ball hockey team, Terry, when they won the championship in, I think, Sierra, Switzerland. That's the CHL All-Star. All-Star when he was player of the game in Kitchener. That's greatest album of all time. I had, put in the whatever, what do you call that, framed. Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band. Beatles once again. This one here, that's the one that was recalled, called the Butcher album. And it showed, you see the babies, they were protesting Vietnam. Babies were all caught up to like the dolls, and they put 6,000 out on the market and quickly recalled them. And that's one of them. That's worth, I guess, a few bucks. That's the Beatles there when they were in Washington Sports Arena. There's some of these are pretty hard to get, I got to say. That's my uniform there, Fighting Saints. One with the Rolling Stones live in concert. Elvis, Janis Joplin, it's one of my favorites right there. There's when Brad Richards, who's a friend of ours, very good friend of Terry's. We used to go to his golf tournament every year when they won the Stanley Cup. And these are all jerseys over there, Ireland. Mount Pearl Blades senior jersey. Slovakia, that he traded, I guess, with one of the players on the ball hockey team. There's a Growlers uniform. Once again, Canada's national team, the gold medal, I think, in Dusseldorf, Germany. And all here, if you can see the mess.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, this is the Cincinnati one? I mean, it may as well. I always interchange some, right? Just like they're sitting down here, so now I'll take these. That's Canada's inline one. I'll take these and wear them now. I just started wearing them. I'm like, it's great to be on the wall and everything, but I'd like to use them too, right?
All right.
I didn't use them for years because I was just like cocky wearing your own jerseys.
This is
they're all here, like they're so nice.
This is Splitting Chicklets. It's the biggest podcast in the United States. We were on it, and of course the boys. That's the. If I can turn it around, I don't even know if. There it is, Spitting Chicklets. We got mugs and jerseys and all that.
I'm going to bring you down some off my wall.
About 6.5 million people in the States.
Oh, wait, keep that up, Senior. Keep that up.
Paul Bissonnette played for the Arizona Coyotes. They were here for about 3 days filming.
Here, let me put it down. Let me see your face.
Yeah. Wait a minute, Jerry.
No, smile. You don't have to. Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Here, and let me get Senior. There's the lights right there. Let me see it from this angle. Here. Deadly. Great pick.
Now, before, after, there you go. And these are all, as I said, put the Splitting Chicklets there. This is Ireland. We got 3 or 4 of Ireland.
Trophy. snagged that.
That's when I was playing. The only one I got a few souvenirs when I played. That's when I played for Kalamazoo Wings. I was Player of the Week. That's the Olympic, this Bobby Orr's Olympic, I forget where that was, but it's the Olympic jersey or sign. I had to track this down too. Sweatshirt, Minnesota Fighting Saints. I kept that. I have a few things. Not near as much as Terry, obviously, but
You do. You got lots of stuff.
there's a nice one too, Terry. I always like this one for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Now mine.
That's a nice jersey too.
That's the wrong. So I was number 20. I grabbed the wrong one on the way back.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's my teammates.
That's in.
Yeah.
That could have been anywhere. Could have been in Pittsburgh. Could have been anywhere.
That one was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That was Pittsburgh.
And of course there's my Hamilton Red Wing. There's 50 years old that I took when I graduated. And as you can see, look at the difference in uniform now. It's sort of a different material. It's certainly not as bulky, but it's still a dandy uniform to look for. And of course, de rigueur, Black Horse. Where would we be without Black Horse and a beer after the game? Now, there's a story behind this one. There's a group from Hamilton called Monster Truck. They're rock and roll. They played with Terry. Who are the other groups they've been with on stage?
Oh my God! They opened for Guns N' Roses.
Guns N'
Their
Roses.
song, "The Enforcer," is the Leap Skull song.
Yes. Well, he's from Kiley. Steve Kiley's from Hamilton, and of course we had a real tie-in, and he sent that down to us, autographed, official, Monster Truck Hockey Club. He loves playing hockey. And we hear from him, Terry more so than me, occasionally. When they're on tour, they're just, of course, they haven't been touring now for a year. But there's Terry's Republic of Doyle. That's a nice little keepsake. And the podcast here, a guy from Collingwood, Ontario, I think, had those made. There's like works of art. And that's in my Fighting Saints Day, and this is Terry, of course, Montreal Canadiens. And the name of the podcast, he had that done too. Third Man In. But like really, we got them in the mail. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know what it was, and I said, Terry, you got something here. It's heavy. When am I supposed to open it? So I opened it, and I didn't know what was going on. But these are like. They're like really hard. If people here could lift them, they're heavy. That's solid wood made in he owns a factory or something, Terry?
What?
He owns a factory or something in Collingwood, the guy who sent them? The guy from Ontario.
Yeah, I forget his name too. I'll find it though.
And of course, there's a nice little keepsake. 1995 NHL entry draft. That's when it was a big deal. My draft, Queen Elizabeth Hotel, no one even went to it. They just call you and said, we just drafted you. Okay, fine. And there's the cap. That's a nice keepsake right there. It's the only one left. All the ones we had, 1995 NHL entry draft. And I kept them more so than Terry because I've the degrees I have is a history degree. So I'm very conscious of history, and I knew down the road that would be important. This one here, you won't find one of these.
Oh, God.
That's my Minnesota North Star. 1972. That's what I got at the draft. And there's not many of them left because there's no more Minnesota North Stars. They're the Minnesota Wild. So I had a sense, I guess, to keep it, and it would be worth, I don't know, something, just keepsake more or less, to hang on my Babe Ruth poster. And of course there's a lot of potpourri here. This is Creature from the Black Lagoon and the Wolfman. They're from an actual, in LA, a friend of ours who's very much into sci-fi went out there, and these were like originals. He knew the right strings to pull and whatever. And these are originals from whatever, and he gave them to us. And so I keep them there. Like I say, it's eclectic. St. Pat's at the ballpark. He's showing me there the swing, the patented Ted Williams swing. I asked him, because I'm a huge New York Yankee fan, and I said, Mr. Williams, of course, I said, who are the best hitters that in your day? And I mentioned Mantle. He said he was one of them. Mickey Cochran, who used to be a catcher, I think, for the Yankees, a Hall of Fame. And oddly enough, most people would think Hank Greenberg, Hall of Famer for Detroit Tigers, first baseman. There's Pete Rose, having a laugh. Terry, of course, they're ready to go out in Cincinnati. They're going to honor Rose that night. This is Sam Roberts from, the Sam Roberts band. Wesley Snipes, that's in the Planet Hollywood in Montreal. That's, once again, that's me when I was in Minnesota. There's Bobby Hull. Ty Domi and Terry fighting winless Leafs need more tough ties. A good friend of ours. Ron McLean. Don Cherry, of course. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Tommy Rowe, a lot of people would know, but people of my generation would. Dizzy, 2 or 3 #1 hits. I spent all afternoon. Terry's All-Star game was in Kitchener, and because his agent was Gretzky's agent, I spent all afternoon at Wayne's house. It says to Terry, best wishes, Walter Gretzky, to Terry, best wishes. What was his mother? Phyllis. Phyllis Gretzky. There's Wayne. Terry, Montreal played the Rangers that night. Wayne came over. Jeremy Charles, of course, of culinary renown. That's my claim to fame there. Played an exhibition game in St. Petersburg, Florida. It says that Terry loved Liza Minnelli. She was the biggest female star in the world then. St. Petersburg Hilton in the penthouse. Actually, 2 buddies went up and she signed them for us. That's Terry's draft. He just drafted 8th overall. Very good friend of ours, Sheldon Surrey, played with Terry in Tri-City. That's Harbor Grace when they won the Herder. Nice shot there. This is, if I went over to guys in that team, that's Team Pacific at the World Under 18. There's about 15 #1 picks there. Redden, Doan, Terry, Kyle, McLaren. Oh my God! I'd it'd take you all day to fill it out, to say it. There's Terry and his junior Montreal. I'm scoring there on Jerry Cheevers, Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Crusaders, I think, was there. And yeah, Cleveland Crusaders in the World Hockey. Of course, I had to have that one. I saw it and I took it out and I put it up. It's gone. That's the old Yankee Stadium, and that's Mickey Mantle at the bat, his last at bat in Yankee Stadium. The others up there, you have to go up. The one I'm most proud of, I guess, as you go up the steps. I'll turn the light on here a bit. I'm a Wild Wild West fan. And when Terry played in Colorado, I went out, a buddy of mine actually was a big fan of the team. He's from Long Island, New York. Took me up to Glenwood Springs, Colorado. That's the grave of Doc Holliday of Tombstone fame, shootout at the OK Corral. That's him. That's in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. I'm at the, like I said, the gravesite. I couldn't wait to go. There's about 4 hours north of Denver. But a beautiful place. These were Terry's Fredericton Canadian. Chris Nyland, of course, here. Pretty good friend of ours. That's Terry with the Fredericton Canadians, Rookie of the Year. That's they were, when half of them were Montreal and half were the LA Kings. That's the WHL, the All-Star game, when it was half the team was West and half were Quebec playing against Ontario. And once again, that's a who's who of, if you went through, of NHLers. But this is called our Wall of Fame. And these are the plaques there. MVP in Tri-City. Quesnel Millionaires when he's 14. Fighting Domi again. But they're all very, very nice memories. And as we go in, there's our coat we wore, as you go out for warm-up, skating around, and like usually on a Monday when you had no equipment, Minnesota Fighting Saints. These are Terry's on the calendar with Sergei Zholtak, who died of a massive heart attack. He was a young man, like 33, 34 years old. And Terry was on.
Not only that,
Terry was on the Montreal.
That was his thing. I'm in shape.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. Yes, in immaculate shape.
Before like anything was a thing,
Yeah.
like he was taking creatine. He
Yeah,
was
massive,
watching what he ate.
massive heart attack. And there, of course, is All You Need Is Love. As true today as it was 50 years ago. That's the Beatles, of course. That's their famous one. They came out with number ones. Of course, another marketing genius. Sold like 20 million. That was a cover. All You Need Is Love with the heart. And there's Terry over here to show he was in. The Terry, what was the name of that show? Oh, Young Dog?
Little dog.
Little Dog, right here. That's that's a poster they had made up, of course, like it's a boxing, St. George versus Ross, Saturday, St. John's Arena, October 7th. This here, of course, once again, got to get my Yankees in. My beloved Yankees, Mantle, Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, and Jeter. Probably 5 of the greatest Yankees in history. And these, as you see, these are all the covers of, I collect a number of magazines, rock magazines, as you notice. This is Classic Rock, Mojo, Uncut. These are all from London. And you can get them at Chapters where I get them. Uncut, Classic Rock, all the way through. Planet Rock with Motorhead. These, as you can see, I've got them everywhere. There's Phil Lynott from the Thin Lizzy, Springsteen. And that's my cooler actually on a Friday when I put my dozen beer. That's a cooler from Red Bull. Compliments of Red Bull. And that's you can see here, these are approximately 3,000 albums. And of course, on top of that, you've got the cassettes. When the cassettes went out, I got the CDs. And then, of course, the albums were the beginning. There's some valuable albums in there, too, I have to say. And these were, when you had the albums, you could take the liner notes. And I put a lot of them, but you can't get it anymore, of course, it's CDs. And these are all, oh wow, they're all 40, 50 years old. Behind that, you've got, the Eagles. My favorite poster, you can't see it, is America in Anaheim Stadium. It's like from a fishnet lens. You can't see it, but it's just fabulous. About 60,000 people. And that one over there, I'm very proud. Terry got that somewhere. Elvis Presley one. That was, I don't know where he's playing, Baton Rouge or something.
Terry, explain this one. The Dennis
Oh,
Rodman
Dennis
one.
Rodman, yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually a chapter out of my new book, Fights, Film, and Folklore. This is my buddy Paul Eels. Paul and I played outfield for the Mount Pearl Knights in baseball. This would have been like obviously the late 90s. So it was the summertime. We're at, point when I said we play baseball, because I'm in right field, he's in center. So, it's this part of you're talking a lot. Outfielders, what else you got to do? Some games the ball doesn't even get hit out there. So I've always noticed that amongst pitcher, catcher, whatever. But in my career, I often sports career become close with the outfielders, whatever. So Paul was a real good friend, and I'd grown up with him. Jose Theodore called me in the middle of the summer, or I guess it was July. So it was July. Because I often think when I look back, seeing Rodman there, I thought they were in the playoffs, but they weren't. So, but anyway, I guess they just won it. So, it comes up in The Last Dance, actually. So anyway, Jose Theodore called and said, "Are you going to the party?" I said, "What party?" I had no idea. So we had finished the year with the team. So the Canadians were good like that. They'd often had, so me and Jose and maybe a couple other prospects were there on the last day. So technically, we're on the Canadians. So our names are on, and they did that for a reason. So our names, if you go in the room, our names are on the plaque. That'll be there forever. And we would get invited to these events. So so I did the first, it ended up being Brad Richards' golf tournament, but before that, they just had like a Pro-Am skins game kind of thing. And they flew me up because, again, I finished the year, Terry Ryan of the Montreal Canadiens, when, I played like 3 games that year, but they were good. So anyway, I get this invite, and it says, "Do you want to go to the opening of Planet Hollywood? You're cordially invited, you and a guest." So we just finished the game. I got home. I was still in my stuff. I called Paul. And Paul was doing pretty well, still is, got Jim Eel's equipment. So point being, like I was 19 or 20. Everybody wouldn't have been able to get up and go the next day. But I had one of the things with the team, we had a bunch of points. So anyway, Paul and I got on the flight. It was like the next night. We flew up there, and I kind of underestimated it because we went down. The Planet Hollywood was located near the Eaton Center. So we went down, and there was I'd say 5,000, I don't know, but there's thousands and thousands of people. This big red carpet, like People Magazine, Entertainment Weekly. So we totally underestimated it. So I went down, and I'll never forget, went into the Eaton Center, bought myself a better shirt because I looked like a bit of a skeet. Went back in, bought a Hugo Boss, like mock neck, whatever it was. Went back in. Paul and I went to the party, and it was crazy. We went down the red carpet. It was the only time, I believe, that Rodman and Carmen Electra were filmed in public, because I think they were only married, at least when they were married. They were only married like a week. And if you look back and you Google the pictures, you'll see a lot of pictures. If you Google Dennis Rodman and Carmen Electra, he's wearing this because they were only at a couple of events, and as far as I know, that was the only one public. So they were there. Schwarzenegger's there. My God, Bruce Willis. Sporty Spice was sitting right next to me. Barry Bonds was in town because they were playing the Expos, and it was a mishmash of celebrities. It couldn't have been any crazier if we were at the Viper Room in L.A. Cindy Crawford was there. Yeah, Stallone. It was overwhelming. So anyway, we went up and sat down. I'll never forget it. When we said we were baseball players, again, I don't consider myself a baseball player, but we were playing in the summer. Paul definitely was. It was the only sport he played. So I guess we blurted that out. Instead of saying I play on the Montreal Canadiens, whatever it was, Barry Bonds, we were like, there was a row of tables, and he pushed his out, "Come on in." And he'd heard of Newfoundland. And the thing is, I'm not big on Barry Bonds, the whole steroid thing and everything, but he really was. And he seems arrogant on TV and stuff, but he really was nice to us that night. He seemed to be in a great mood. I'll never forget that. So he was here. It's almost like 2 different people that I judge, right? Say what you want. He's a great hitter. So he was next to us, and he opened the door, and he got the ball rolling. He was talking about sports and Sporty Spice. Oh, God. There was like Cindy Crawford. That whole table, I don't really know if they knew much about hockey. So I kind of picked up where he left off, and I started, and I spoke for like an hour, and they were all the celebrities were there kind of taking it in. But like we were there there was only 8 or 9 of the Canadians that showed up. I mean, it was old hat to a lot of them. They'd done that sort of thing before I didn't. So none of them were really overly social, unless they were, Vinny Damphus and these guys were great people. But they weren't head over heels that Cindy Crawford was there. So I'm sure Sporty Spice and company thought that I was a more important member of the Habs. I'm sure. Probably thought I was the captain. I was taking the bull by the horns, directing traffic, whatever. But Paul came with me, and we had an absolute blast at the end of the night. And this was right before Jose Theodore made the NHL permanently. So he was in the minors as well. 2 years after this, 3 years after, Theodore would end up getting the Hart Trophy. But anyway, it was Wesley Snipes. He was also real nice to us. I'd say we talked to Wesley Snipes for like an hour, and you know, a lot of it was overwhelming. You go to meet these people, but they were also socializing, and I guess, you know, the Canadians are celebrities, and you know, because I certainly didn't think of myself like that when I was sitting there, but that's kind of the thing. It didn't seem like we were fans. It seemed like we were on their level. It's, you know, we were Montreal Canadians in Montreal. I don't want to sell myself short. That's a pretty big thing. And a lot of them were excited to meet us, kind of thing. So, you know, often if you're in a room and you meet a celebrity or two, you know, it's nice, but it's often like an autograph signing or something. You don't really get, you know, because they're bothered. But this was unique because, you know, they were kind of listening back, and it was a real nice social interaction, real nice night. And it was the last that the Bulls won the championship. It was 5 in a row, right? The Last Dance, 5 or 6, whatever it was. That was the last. And there's a great story in The Last Dance. It's one of my favorite. Is the last couple episodes. Anyway, that had just happened. So knowing that, it makes it even more important. Stanley Cup final. We were at his golf tournament that summer, and in the Stanley Cup final, he made sure to use like 20 or 30 sticks in the 7 games, and so we could all get a game used Stanley Cup final stick.
And this is Brad Richards.
Not only that, Senior, he really got it for Senior. I got to be honest, because we were up at the tournament. We had a great time.
We hit it off.
Senior,
We hit it off with him.
he took the Conn Smythe trophy.
Yes, he did.
And threw it into his pool. So he goes, he's up deck. He goes, Senior, catch, and he threw down the Conn Smythe trophy right into the middle of the pool.
It didn't mean anything to him. I remember
He was
going
just
in.
so great. And
We
then-
were on our way out, catching the flight, weren't we? Driving from.
Yeah.
And he said, "Drop in." We had to get directions where he lived on a pond just outside of Charlottetown.
Yeah.
So we opened the door. Bray, oh yeah, boys, come on in. There's like nothing in there, no furniture. Conn Smythe is on the floor against the wall, just against the wall. I said, "Geez, Brad, yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah."
sent it
It
to
doesn't
him.
mean anything to him.
He just won it. But
Yeah, he
this
just
is the thing.
won it.
So the year before this,
Yeah.
he told us that this was going to, so we're keeping in contact, we're calling, and so he told us, like, if he got to the finals, so that became a thing, but we didn't really expect it to happen. It was Tampa Bay. I mean, I don't recall them being a juggernaut
And
in the early
I showed
2000s.
him the picture over there with
And
the
then-
Stanley Cup.
Yeah, and this was early on when him and LeCavalier were really coming into their own. So
Yes.
I'm not saying that Tampa Bay weren't good. They were clearly great.
They were,
I just
yeah.
mean like a year or two before that, it would have seemed a little bit overwhelming if we knew Richie was going to be in the...
Without
Not only
doubt,
that,
yeah.
then he keeps it and he gets Conn Smythe trophy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, perfect. So this is from the Stanley Cup final.
It's autographed here. You can't see it
Yeah.
as well with white. Brad Richards is just his.
Yeah.
He just autographed it. Brad Richards.
To the Ryans,
Yeah, to the Ryans, Brad Richards.
you guys
You can barely pick it out. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't.
are great.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love that happened because
Here, I'll put
it's
it.
all the rest of them.
The
We
rest-
kind of grabbed after the fact, like
Yeah.
Bobby Orr's stick, you know, it's about, but I mean, we knew Brad. But the thing is, I told you about this, the Canadians, right? I would finish the year with them, so I'd go do these events. So me and Senior went up to do the Pro-Am. I golfed with John Daly, golfed off of a
Yes.
Coke can, put a ball there, hit it.
Yes.
Freddie Couples, Mark O'Meara, and Mike Ware. This was, and then it turned into the Boys and Girls Club.
It was
Foundation.
huge stars. Daly
Yeah.
was Freddie Couples, and
it's crazy.
Ware was
So
there. Yeah.
then it was the Pro-Am thing.
Because
for
I
Canada.
walked around. I didn't play, but I walked around
Yeah.
with the
You lost.
president. No, the president of Toyota Canada.
And that's when we really hit it off with Ron McLean. He
Yeah.
was there, and I went
Yeah.
over to his table. But this was a little bit before Brad. Brad was coming up then, and he might have been in the queue, just entered. So we did that tournament for a few years, right? And I was one of the celebrities at the beginning of it, and it was like Anne Murray, and it was this eclectic group of Canadians, 18 of us, right? Head a hole each. But then Brad ended up becoming the big star, and so he took over the whole thing, and it turned into a hockey thing.
Yes.
Because at first it was not really a hockey thing; it was raising money for the Boys and Girls Club. So then when he did it, it was the Brad Richards
I think-
invitational charity tourney. So
Crosby
we would go
went
up,
to
and then
one.
Chloe came into his own. So Chloe would come up every year.
Yeah.
There was probably 5.
Danny
The
was
peak
there.
of it.
Danny.
Danny came up once.
Yeah.
But then Jeremy Hart. Then the other thing is we had a bunch of buddies that also played junior up there. Craig Hodge, Jeremy Hart, Justin
Youngers,
Cook, people,
yes.
people like that. So we had an in there anyway. So it ended up being just great. So it's a tight little clique in PEI. and if you know Brad, the Kennedys, Forbes Kennedy, and Mike Kennedy, and those guys.
McMillan, whom I played with.
I love PEI for that reason. You can go into
Yes.
any bar downtown, and they'll tell you about Slapper Donaghy, who, you know, had 50 goals for Charlottetown in 1973. They know all the stories, all the legends. Forbes Kennedy's.
4B, yeah. Well, he coached here for Corner Brook for 5 years, right? Forbes Kennedy, and I played against his brother Jamie for the New York Raiders. So we had sort of had an in that way. But they're very close shop too, and because it's so small. I mean, Charlottetown's only about 30,000 people. You have, you know, and for the size of PEI, the number of NHLers they've had is phenomenal. Oh boy, now Newfoundland has started to produce some recently, but PEI were like, wow.
Senior, did Mike give you these?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What did he give them to you for?
A special treat here now because Terry skates twice on Sunday, so we got him mic'd up for his afternoon skate with a bunch of other Newfoundlanders. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're at mile 1 here now. Yeah, let's see how the game goes.
Gonna be mic'd up. You. It's always 1995 on this wing. Were you guys out last night?
Yeah, I didn't go out, but I was breaking up to the house, meeting a few people.
My bad. You got it. Three. Wicker, man, you got a quick release, man. Yeah, so did I. But it just doesn't look like he's going to shoot it, and that fraction is all you need when you're. It's a game of just fucking inches, man. It's crazy. Go, you go. They got those two. They got Nurse. Like they got a few more. Yamamoto can put it in. How do they keep being bad, man? I just don't get it. Like I. Yeah. Because it is. Like I'm starting to second guess myself. But I mean, he's the best, man. You look at him every time he's got it, it's electric. He got to be hurting. He must be fucking demanding a trade on the inside. Well, I probably wouldn't because he's Connor McDavid, but I mean, anybody else. Yeah. 4-3, okay, let's get one. Yeah. Fergie said to say hi, Wicker, man. Instagram stories last week. I put out that we were skating and
What's he up to these days?
stunting.
Is he still doing that?
Yeah. Oh, he does well at it now, man. Real well. Oh, yeah, great pass. I need water. Great try. It was a good shift. Go. My bad. Go. Rosie. Oh, it's all good. Great save. That was a great save. Go. Wicker. Yours, yours, yours. Go. Horrible play by me, man. Go. Oh my God. Sorry. Figure I'd get a shot away at least. Wait! Ah. That's in. 10-9. Okay, great pass before that. Great pass. I don't know why that guy keeps trying to dangle you through the legs. What? Like the first 5 times it didn't work. 10-9. Sorry. Should have had that. Fucking should have had it.
Sure.
I should have had it. Oh. What's Edward's first name again? Riley is? No, what's his name? Goalie? By the way, my bad. It's a good workout if nothing else. Holy Jesus.
We're down. No, 1. Tiny's saying we're 2, but it's only a roll.
No, 1. 1 for sure. I don't know how because they've got some scores. And so do we, I guess.
Hello.
We're down by 1. 2.
Oh, yeah.
We're only down by 1. Here we go. How did they not have more? Yeah, good job.
All right, that's it for another video of my directed studies for my master's at Ryerson University. Hey, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment something down below, and also, Terry's got a new book out. Check it out. It'll be linked down in the description. All right, in the meantime, stay best, kind.
Okie dokie, everyone. That is it for this week. I hope you all have a great long weekend. And like I said, don't be afraid to leave us a review. You know, I love seeing them. And in the meantime, stay best, kind.